Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful Thanksgiving. I want to encourage you to continue to cultivate gratitude, to express your thanksgivings to one another and to God. And so today I just want to help us reflect on the holiday, the holy day, the special day, the family friend day of Thanksgiving. So we know that the first Thanksgiving was a harvest celebration held by the Pilgrims of Plymouth Colony in the 17th century. And what was great about this, before it got all kinds of crazy, is that you had settlers from Europe, from England, coming to America, and that there were Native American Indians who helped them and welcomed them. And they celebrated as two different peoples from two different lands, coming together to celebrate a harvest and to enjoy the spirit. And there are many myths about Thanksgiving, but we have a couple accounts that help us to know the true history of it, at least from the perspective of the English settlers. Number one was William Bradford's journey entitled The Plymouth Plantation. And then the second was Mort's Relations, written by Edward Winslow. And what we know from the first Thanksgiving was that this feast was to celebrate a successful harvest. And anyone who's a farmer knows what a good harvest is that you plant your crops, and that during this time of year, if you've been blessed enough, you have these great bountiful crops that will help you get through the winter. And so you thank God for the blessings of the earth and of the food that has been given, provided by the earth and through the hard work and through God's blessing. And so a successful harvest will help people to survive through the winter. So they had much to celebrate. They were new to America. They had made new friends. And we know that there is the biblical tradition of celebrating harvest. And the Pilgrims who settled, they wanted to give their thanksgiving back to God. And they had come along on this long sea journey on the Mayflower, the famous boat. And that this is the ship that sailed across the Atlantic Ocean and landed on Plymouth Rock in Massachusetts. And there were 102 Christians who made the voyage. And my great-grandmother says we are one of those people, that we were on one of the voyages. There were many of them, not just this first one. But during this trip, only 53 survived, and the other half perished due to starvation. So we know that a good harvest was a good reason to celebrate. A good harvest meant that you would have enough food and provisions to survive the winter. And those 53 survived that first winter and had that first Thanksgiving feast, and it was a celebration of faith, hope, and love. They had the hope that they would survive, and they had become friends with the Native American Indians. And I need to do some research on exactly what tribe that was so that we can celebrate the diversity within this country, and also to look back and understand that there were times in which we got along with one another, and that this spirit of unity and love needs to continue in this day and age. And so when we look at this story, we want to realize how they had held to their faith. They held their trust in God, and they did not give up during these hard times. They stuck together. They were unified, and they loved one another. And they loved their neighbors as equally as they loved themselves, and they love God too. That is the true spirit of Thanksgiving. How can we celebrate our diversity? How can we celebrate our friends and family? How can we celebrate in a creative way all that we need to be grateful for, all that we need to give God thanksgiving for? Oh, here it is. I have it in my notes. It was the Wampanoag Indians. Wampanoag Indians. 90 of them celebrated with the Pilgrims. They brought the gifts of deer and of other goodies. They also served fowl, maybe mussels, lobsters, grapes, plums, corn, and herbs at the very first Thanksgiving. Sounds like a great feast to me. They probably didn't have turkey, though, or stuffing, or mashed potatoes. some of my favorite and maybe some of your favorite foods during Thanksgiving. But the first natural Thanksgiving holiday was declared by the Continental Congress on December 18th, 1777. And then on 1789, George Washington declared that the last Thursday in November is the official national holiday of Thanksgiving. So, what is your favorite food for Thanksgiving? What is your favorite activity? Do you like to watch football, sports? Do you like to play video games? Do you like to just sit around and talk with your friends and family? Do you eat too much? Do you sit around the table and go around and each person has a chance to say thank you to one another? Well, I encourage you to leave a comment on what your favorite Thanksgiving thing is this year. So God bless you, and may you have a happy Thanksgiving. Goodbye and God bless.